But, Ken Fish, who's somebody who I know and deeply respect, he is really good with like statistics and understanding certain tracks and sequences of the body. He actually estimated that half of the prayer that's been lifted up in the United States in the last 25 years has come out of the prayer room at IHOPKC. He actually estimated that half of the prayer that's been lifted up in the United States in the last 25 years has come out of the prayer room at IHOPKC.
Buenos dias, que tal mis amigos? Welcome to my channel. Please support your local food bank, drug and alcohol center. No little lies, all right? Viewer discretion is advised. And this is an IHOPKC update video. This is a shocking video. And Tammy has come forward. She is not Jane Doe. She is an additional one. Now, I included this in the video. Half of all the prayer in the United States in the last 25 years has come out of the prayer room. So comment below. What are your thoughts on this idea that what I'm assuming this includes all of Hawaii? So if you're new Christian, Eric Bowles is the crisis manager, is claiming that in a 25-year span of every prayer in the United States half of it has come out of the prayer room in Kansas City. All right, so comment below your thoughts on that idea. I believe Eric Bowles is now revealing himself that he is absolutely, totally, and absolutely caught up in this spiritual paradigm where Mike Bickle is the prophetic history. He's been involved with IHOP for many years. We're going to be looking, he's back, by the way. He's back. He's claiming the crisis is over. Well, we'll look at that video first. I'll play that video first. The crisis is over. So right here.
I don't think IHOP's really in crisis mode anymore. Mike is separated. They realize there's a lot of deficiencies in the organization that need to change. They're doing that. Really the only crisis aspect to this is just the continued bombardment of, accusations coming from the outside. Mike is separated.
All right, so the crisis is over, and he's claiming that half of all the prayer in the United States in the last 25 years has come out of the IHOP prayer room in Kansas City. Now, God bless Tammy. This is the article, and we're going to read it. But before we get to that, well, let's look at that first. So this is my Twitter. And this is Mr. Bowles, all right? This is Mr. T. I like this guy. I like this guy. He's been a shining light. He's an advocate for the abuse survivors inside, outside of courtrooms throughout the United States. In fact, I'm an advocate as well. I do videos on my free time, but I'm a street pastor, and we had a major overdose last week, so I'm doing outreach all day today. And all right, so he's an advocate, and this is the article. Woman says, so we'll read a little bit. This is 14 pages long, all right? 14, let me see here. See that right here, 3 or 14 pages long. So I have limitations, all right? So reading out loud is not one of my strong points. I have dyslexia, but I'm going to try. Woman says, I'm not stupid. I have a hard time reading a lot, all right? Here it is here. A Michigan woman says she's come forward with allegations that the IHOP founder, Mike Bickle, sexually abused her starting when she was 14. Her allegations, which some say are most damning to surface yet about Bickle and come after 4 decades of silence. So this is just happening yesterday. She claims it involves sexual abuse of a minor. She alleged the abuse began when she was a babysitter at Bickle's 2 children. Tammy Woods. Tammy, if you watch this video, I've been praying for you. I'll keep your family in prayer. Who told her story exclusively to the Star this week, said the abuse occurred in the 1980s in St. Louis, where Bickle pastored a church before moving to Kansas City and later found the 24-hour global prayer room. Woods, now 57 and a mother and grandmother, said she didn't tell anyone for 43 years, but after watching the details unfold of the woman identified as Jane Doe, whose sexual abuse allegations were made public in October, led to Bickle's removal and upheaval. She told her husband, some family members, and her pastors last week, and on Saturday she called St. Louis police and filed a report. "This is my story. It happened. I'm not Jane Doe. I'm Tammy, and you did this," said Woods, who was using her maiden name referring to Bickle, "but I don't want you to continue controlling the narrative of my life as Mimi, as mom." She hopes that by speaking out somehow would help others to find their voice and say, you know what? We didn't want to have a life sentence of shadows and lies. We don't want to be given a script like we can manipulate some pews. Bickle, when contacted by email several times on Wednesday, did not provide a comment. Mike Bickle doesn't respond to critics and has gone silent. He has multiple different law firms, media teams, crisis manager Eric, and a whole entire staff behind him to defend him. But he goes silent. And this is one of his lawyers, Adre Manito. Now, we're going to go all the way down because this lady is a hero, and we're going to go here. Oh, so I'll leave a link in the description, as well as I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to put it on my website. This is my website, and I have all these different links. For an example, investigation report, you just click a link. So you go to my website, this is the IHOP investigational report. Or for an example, click that, that's Mark, his testimony, all right? So I'll leave a link in the description for you to read the whole article, and or you can go to my website. I want to read a little bit about it here because Eric, the crisis manager, does respond. Where do we go here? Here it is here. Woods transferred to the University of Missouri her junior year. Her dad bought her a yellow Volkswagen Rabbit, very similar to one Bickle drove, because they were supposedly such enduring times. You know, that's how they saw me. That's how they remembered me. In Mike's yellow Rabbit, kind of Batman and Robin. Bickle visited her in MU once. She said that they ended up lying on her bed, fully clothed with him on top. That was the last sexual contact, she said. Woods got married in the summer of 1988. She said Bickle didn't attend the wedding, explaining that it would be too painful, but Diane and their sons were there. So Bickle called Woods the morning of the wedding to bless me, she said, and then started crying, which made her cry. Woods said that she and Bickle stayed in touch over the years. He spoke at her church in St. Louis in 1993. She said that he would call her a few times a year. In 1996, she said while he was staying with her family during a trip, he told her they needed to cut things completely off. No phone calls, no conversations, he said. And I remember just feeling that devastation again, like everything I had felt when I was 16. She said that abandonment, it was just unearthed again, but she said it forced her to really seek the Lord, for me to go after wholeness in my heart. This poor lady. That also was about the time Bickle had allegedly started a relationship with the primary Jane Doe in Kansas City. Woods said she and Bickle had no contact for 5 years. She continued to keep the secret, she said, because he's doing all these amazing things. He literally got a get out of jail card, she said, and he was doing it right. We We were doing it right. Everyone deserves a second chance. He got this from the Lord, from myself, and I was growing in wholeness. He was growing in notoriety as a godly man, as this incredible, generous man, as his anointed teacher. So I'm thinking, we did it. We really did it. Bickle returned to St. Louis in 2001. Woods said, with a group from IHOPKC to discuss a vision of a house of prayer in St. Louis. Things were different then, she said. She was growing up and had 3 children. They called him Uncle Mike. She said because there was affection, he honored me publicly, he honored my family. She felt they could be distant friends, co-laborers in similar ministry. She became the director of a small house of prayer in St. Louis. And because her family's central location, their home became a bridge uniting prayer streams around the country. And I honestly felt good, she said. I felt like this is a beautiful story of redemption and how wrong things are made right. And his sons didn't grow up with an incarnate father. Others saw warnings. Barbie Thompson said that she and Tammy met when they were 4 years old and the two became kindred spirits. I treasured her family, Thompson said. And when Mike came in, just like guns ablaze, he took her whole family over and was mesmerized by him. And they kind of bromanced Tammy's dad with football. The guy is smooth. He knew exactly what to do. Soon after Bickle came into the picture, she said, her friend changed. And this huge wedge, like the unspoken wall, came between us, she said. And then it wanted to be that Tammy would be like I would have a babysitter, his kids, and he would pick up from school. He would pick up Tammy's house, and then on Wednesday night for prayer meetings, then we would walk from his house to the church for Wednesday prayer meetings, and I would be left at the house, with all these strangers. People were smitten with Bickle, Thompson said. He had an energy about him, she said, and using their words, he was on fire for the Lord. Literally, all these things that made me cringe. Thompson said before long, Tammy began taking on Diane Bickle's persona. Tammy started speaking like Diane, and she took on Diane's cadence and her voice. She said she took on Diane's mannerisms, and she started dressing like Diane. Thompson said Bickle used to come into high school and meet Tammy at her locker. Wow. So this can be a sworn affidavit. What was Mike Bickle doing at Tammy's high school? And when you hear all these whispers in the classes about that's her boyfriend, and I'll be like, want to scream at the top of my lungs, no, it's a creepy preacher. Thompson said the two remained friends. They were each other's wedding, but it wasn't the kind of thing, the elephant in the room nobody talked about. Twice in the 90s, she said she approached the subject with Tammy on the phone, and I said, Mike stole you from me. He took our relationship, and the era of the phone went dead. I was like, she played possum, and I realized I may go to the grave never getting any of this resolved. But on Monday night, Thompson said she got a call from Tammy, and she's like, I'm not going to protect him anymore. All right. Thompson said she had no doubts her friend is telling the truth. Not for 1 minute. I would go before the firing squad on this. Anyone that knows me has heard this story for 44 years, she said, breaking down with emotion. I've cried about it many years. Tammy's uncle, Rogel Woods, said that he was leery of Bickle from the start. I thought he was strange, and it seemed odd to me that someone 10 years older seemed to be attached to Tammy, she said. Another testimony. He would always be near me. My husband and I didn't like him, and my mother said something's wrong here right from the beginning. Then at Thanksgiving dinner at her house, Rachel Woods said, my mother said she saw him put his hand on Tammy's bottom. She was livid. Rachel Woods said the family stands behind Tammy and is proud of her speaking out. He created an environment with double lock deadbolts and peephole office at IHOPKC. He created an environment that allowed him to abuse women. She said at Bickle, he created a church to get his sick needs met. Tammy's younger sister, Susan, who was also 9 and 10 when Bickle came into their lives, he latched into Tammy right away. She said, and early on, clergy said that he noticed things between him and Tammy that seemed off, like the Bickle took the girls to dinner. He grabbed her leg and kind of rubbed it under the table, and I saw that Claire says, I thought, well, that's weird, but then in the early 80s, you trusted preachers, and there's 10 years old, nobody's going to listen to you. There was no social media back then. There was no computers back then, in the 80s. Right? There was no cell phones. You don't really process it. Claire said Tammy would go to Bickle on the phone at home, taking the kid's phone and the long cord another, and she would have more privacy. All right, so I'm going to leave a link in the description. You can read the whole story or go to my website and you click the link. And I am praying for not only Tammy, but everyone involved, including the father and the parents. Because, and this story, Eric Vols, so this is one of his comments. Eric, you said innocent until proven guilty. Don't be pressured into saying otherwise. This is demons coming after the 24-hour prayer nation. This is Eric Vols, the crisis manager's response. In my opinion, Tammy's account is different than the first Jane Doe. Right? So he still absolutely does not recognize Jane Doe as a victim of Mike Bickle's. And the fact that she was a teenage girl, 19 years old, Bickle was in his 40s, where prophetic manipulation was used, and she was a kept woman for 4 years. Lou Angle, we'll come back to this in a second. Lou Angle just put out, so Lou Angle, Sam Storm, Michael Sullivan, Alan Hood, Dwayne Roberts, Brian Kim, Wes Martin, all the family members, as well as many other people, Chris Reed, Joel Richardson, and then like Nate, and then all the advocates have all recognized, including Lou Angle, I believe Jane Doe. She's telling the truth. That's what everyone online in this whole entire senior leaders and pastors that have interviewed Jane Doe, that know Jane Doe, all believe Jane Doe. Absolutely will not recognize Jane Doe is Eric Vols. And not only that, in every opportunity, this just came out a few hours ago, 10 hours ago, Eric Vols is saying, in his opinion, he's supposed to be a crisis manager. Tammy's account is different than the first Jane Doe. It's no different. Because Tammy is using her name and reported her story to the police. Additionally, if accurate, there were people who were aware of the inappropriate relation with Mike Bickle while it was happening, i.e. her own father drove to Kansas City to tell Mike to stay away from her. It will be up to the investigators to determine the facts. I am confident the truth will be established. Eric Vols' actions are reprehensible, causing harm to the victims, the advocates, and the church. I am praying for the hurting during this horrible crisis. Jane Doe, number one, is a hero for coming forward. And in fact, let's listen to this one last video. If you haven't watched this on my website, you can watch it, and then we're going to read the Bible.
Safety for other women. Exactly. That is her goal. When she realized that it was not just her, right? That she was not just Mike's one dirty little secret, that there were others, that is what compelled her. And I think that's so noble. Yes. She's sacrificed her whole life and reputation now in order to protect many other women.
100 times she heard him say that Diane was going to die, they were going to be married, etc. Well, Michael Sullivan said, I've heard that before from another woman. And so I jumped on a call with her. Dwayne did as well. This lady said in 1983, he began to immediately pursue me in a relationship that was the phrase he used. So yeah, I heard that straight from her mouth. So yeah, I heard that straight from her mouth. Another person that we've all known for many, many years, a very credible person.
Incredible woman actually came forward to my wife and I at the beginning of August and told us a story. And I can't unhear that story.
But as Dwayne said early on, once you hear these stories, you can't unhear them.
And again, it was just another layer of spiritual, I don't even know what you call that. Spiritual manipulation, prophetic manipulation, lying, coercing. It's sick is what it is.
It's been said to several people.
That specific phrase was used by multiple people. Or we heard that from multiple people, that phrase was used in a manipulative way towards a woman.
And a few others who said they were being groomed. They're convinced they're being groomed.
There would be, I would put in the category, a lot would say that they had a grooming type, a being groomed relationship with Mike at different levels and kind of different levels, in the journey.
She was not.
So, just so everybody's aware, the independent investigation that has come out where Eric's saying crisis is over hasn't even talked to the advocates, the main alleged though, or any of the purported victims that Bull's Law is representing, as well as other women and other situations that have come up during this whole fiasco. Jane Doe number 1 is a hero. I have been prayer and fastings for her for months now. Her family, online threats, attacks, slanderous accusations that these men and women are out for donations, property from men like Stephen Strang, promoted by Eric Voles, and I'll end this with a Bible verse. Thank you to my friends watching my videos and subscribing and liking, and leave me a comment, and keeping everybody in prayer. This is James 5. Be patient, therefore, brothers, until the coming of the Lord. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit on the earth, being patient about it, until it receives the early and the late rains. You also be patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is at hand. Do not grumble against one another, brothers, so that you may not be judged. Behold, the judge is standing at the door. As an example of suffering and patience, brothers, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. Behold, we consider those blessed who remain steadfast, who have heard of the steadfast. You have heard the steadfastness of Job, and you have seen the purpose of the Lord, how the Lord is compassionate and merciful. Praise the Lord. Above all, my brothers, do not swear, neither by heaven and earth, or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes, and your no be no, so that you may not fall under condemnation. We're just going to finish this here. If anyone among you is sick, let him pray. If anyone is cheerful, let him sing praise. If anyone among you is sick, if anyone among you is suffering, let him pray. If anyone cheerful, let him sing praise. If anyone among you is sick, let him call the elders of the church, and let him pray over him. Anoint him with oil in the name of the Lord, and the prayer of the faith will save the one who is sick, and the Lord will raise him up. And if he has committed sins, he will be forgiven. Therefore, confess your sins one to another and pray for one another, that you may be healed. The prayer. God hears your prayers. Whatever you're facing in life, put all your trust in the Lord. He hears your prayers. He loves you. The prayers of a righteous person has great power and is working. Elijah was a man with a nature like ours, and he prayed fervently. The heroes in the Bible were just men and women that God used to do tremendous things. But they were all just humans, just like you and just like me. Right? Elijah was just a man of nature, just like us, did incredible things for God. And he prayed fervently that it may not rain. And for 3 years and 6 months it did not rain on earth. Then he prayed again, and the heavens gave rain, and the earth bore its fruit. My brothers, if anyone who wanders from the truth and someone brings him back, let him know that whoever brings him back, a sinner from his wandering, will be saved, his soul from death, and he will cover a multitude of sins. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'm going to do some more updates as more information comes out. So may the Lord bless you, keep you strong in the faith, and remember, Brother John loves you.